For 29 years, I, David, believed I had built a fortress of happiness. Sarah and I were the couple everyone else measured their own success against. We raised two brilliant girls, Olivia and Chloe, and lived in the quiet, predictable rhythm of a life that felt complete. We weren't rich, but we were satisfied, and that satisfaction turned out to be my greatest illusion. The cracks didn't start with shouting or drama, but with the faint vibration of Sarah's phone. She had left it on the kitchen counter, screen up, when a notification lit up. A message from a contact labeled simply M. She'd told me she was working late that week, something about a big project with her new supervisor. The text said, "Can't wait for tonight. So much better than a family dinner." My heart, steady for nearly 50 years, skipped, then erupted into a panicked stutter. I'd tried to brush it off as a harmless, too friendly coworker. I'd tried to believe M was Mary, or Martha, or Michael, just a colleague giving her a hard time. But the dread in my gut already knew the truth. I didn't confront her. I just picked up the phone, jotted down the vague contact name, and set it back as if nothing had happened. That night, the man who thought he understood his entire world realized he might know nothing at all. The silence filling our home felt suffocating, heavy with the weight of everything left unsaid.
The next Tuesday, Sarah announced she had to attend a crucial family dinner with her supervisor and his clients. The phrase family dinner landed like a cruel echo of the message I'd seen. She dressed with meticulous care, gave me a quick perfunctory kiss, and left with the confidence of someone who believed she was untouchable. The moment the front door clicked shut, the facade of rational calm I had maintained collapsed. I couldn't just sit there drowning in uncertainty. I tested the waters, not with Sarah, but with our daughters. I texted Olivia first. "Hey, sweetie, how's the family dinner going tonight?" Her reply came immediately. "Good, Dad. Just catching up with Mom. Why?" Too fast. Too upbeat. I sent the same message to Chloe. A moment later, "Having a great time, Dad. Enjoying the food." Casual. Normal. Rehearsed. They were supposedly out with their mother, yet both responses felt identical, like lines they'd practiced. Later, pacing the living room, a memory surfaced. Years ago, I'd installed a family tracking app for safety, leftover paranoia from being a helicopter parent. My hand shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone as I opened it. Sarah's location wasn't at the upscale restaurant she'd named. Instead, that little blue dot was parked at a secluded corporate office complex miles away. Suspicion hardened into certainty. There was no family dinner, and our daughters were either in on it or blissfully naive. The man who had been merely suspicious was now quietly burning with rage. I grabbed my keys, knowing exactly where I needed to be. I drove through the city, every turn fueled by a sickening blend of hope and dread. I prayed the GPS was wrong, that the app had glitched or she was grabbing a coffee near the office. But when I turned into the deserted corporate lot and saw Sarah's car, familiar and damning, any last hope shattered. I parked far away, shut off the engine, and sat in the smothering stillness. It didn't take long. A side door opened, and out walked Sarah with her supervisor, Mark, the man I recognized from the office holiday party. They weren't just colleagues. He pulled her into him beneath the dim yellow security light and kissed her, slow, intimate, deliberate. My body went cold. No anger yet, just ice. Time dragged. I raised my phone, not to call, not to yell, but to capture the truth. Click. No flash. A perfect shot. Another, clearly showing Mark's face. It wasn't suspicion anymore, just fact. The quiet man who built a safe life had become a spy, holding evidence of his own downfall. I drove home in a blur of white-hot fury, those photographs seared into my brain. It wasn't just betrayal. I had been made a fool. When I reached the house, I stayed in the car. One terrible, crystal-clear thought cut through the chaos. I needed to blow up the illusion of our perfect family, right now. I opened our family group chat. David, Sarah, Olivia, and Chloe. My fingers moved with an eerie calm I barely recognized. I didn't rant. I didn't plead. I simply attached the picture of Sarah and Mark kissing, followed by, "To my loving family, enjoy your family dinner. I hope it was everything you wanted tonight. P.S. We need a divorce lawyer. Send." The silence that followed was deafening. Then my phone exploded with messages. Sarah in frantic all caps, "David, stop! I'm coming home, please!" Olivia in confusion, "Dad, what is this? Is this some kind of joke? Call me." And then Chloe, just one line, "Dad, I am so sorry." That was when betrayal shifted, from a marital wound to a full family collapse. I tossed the phone onto the seat and walked into the house, dark, cold, thick with the fallout of one vengeful truth. I didn't wait for Sarah. I waited for the end. It felt like hours. Only 30 minutes passed before the garage door rattled open. Sarah rushed in, panic etched across her tear-streaked face. "David, please look at me," she begged. "It was a mistake, a horrible, stupid mistake. It just happened, I swear." I leaned against the cold granite counter, arms folded, face blank. Her familiar routine, denial, pity, had no power anymore. "A mistake?" I asked calmly. "A mistake is getting the wrong coffee. This," I gestured to the invisible picture hanging between us, "this was a choice you made over and over for months. Don't insult me by calling it an accident." She reached for me. I recoiled instinctively. "He was under so much pressure," she whispered. "He made me feel seen." Another tired cliché. I stared at her. Not the woman I married, but a stranger reading from a bad script. And the worst part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing I'd spent 3 decades protecting a lie. Her apology wasn't for the affair. It was for being caught. "Save your performance," I said, walking toward the front hall. "The picture is the statement. My message in the chat is the conclusion. There's nothing left to discuss. The truth didn't need her input." Just as I was about to leave, the girls pulled up in Chloe's little car. They rushed in, fear tight on their faces, but their reactions couldn't have been more different. Chloe collapsed into tears and threw her arms around me. "Dad, I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "We found out months ago, but she begged us not to say anything. I should have told you." Her remorse was a small, piercing relief. But then Olivia, standing rigid beside her mother, arms crossed. "Dad, don't cause a scene," she snapped. "It's not that big of a deal. It was a mistake. People make mistakes." Her words hit like a punch. "Not that big of a deal? Olivia, your mother has been cheating on me, and you helped lie about it, to my face, for months." She stared back defiantly, already embracing her mother's narrative. "It was just a phase. You're overreacting. Divorce will ruin everything. Just forgive her. We have a wedding next year." I looked at Sarah, the betrayer, at Olivia, the accomplice, at Chloe, the reluctant conspirator. The magnitude of the conspiracy swallowed me whole. It wasn't just infidelity, it was collective deceit. My daughter's betrayal cut deeper than Sarah's. Fatherhood itself had been shattered.
Standing in the center of our living room, I felt the fortress I'd spent decades building collapse around me. The betrayal was total, a closed circle of the woman I married and the daughters I raised. There was nothing left to save. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed the overnight bag I didn't remember packing, a subconscious escape plan, and headed toward the door. "I'm leaving," I said, the finality echoing. Sarah lunged for me, frantic, but I stepped past her. I drove straight to my brother Michael's house. He didn't ask a single question when he saw the empty look in my eyes. He just handed me a whiskey and pointed to the guest room. The next morning, I called a lawyer. I explained everything: the affair, the photos, the daughter's involvement. She listened without flinching. A drawn-out legal war began replacing the peace I once cherished. As I signed the first documents, one thought hammered relentlessly. They didn't just break my heart, they destroyed what a family is supposed to be. 29 years, built on sand. The legal battle had barely begun, but the emotional costs already felt unbearable. One detail kept twisting the knife: Olivia's wedding. It was supposed to be next year. I had been quietly funding a large portion, out of pride, love, hope. Now, paying for the celebration of a daughter who chose lies over loyalty felt like self-betrayal. My lawyer, Miss Davies, laid out the financial options, but the choice was mine. It wasn't about money. It was about severing the final ties to a life that no longer existed. Olivia texted constantly, not remorse, only demands. "Dad, you promised to pay for the venue. We need the deposit." Her entitlement sealed her fate. Chloe called too, over and over, guilt heavy in her voice. She said she was planning to move out, unable to live in that house anymore. Her honesty was of faint comfort, but even that connection was tangled in the wreckage. Days passed in Michael's spare room, staring at the ceiling, making lists, assets to split, court dates to plan, decisions about a wedding I no longer belonged to. To survive, I realized I had to stop being their father and start being David again. Alone at my brother's house, the chaos of divorce and betrayal slowly settled into a grim clarity. I finally asked the question I'd been avoiding: what now? 50 years old, suddenly single, cut off from the two people who were supposed to carry my legacy. I looked back at 29 years, not with bitterness, but with forensic precision. Did I miss the signs? Was I too focused on providing instead of seeing? Maybe. But none of that justified their deliberate deception. I wasn't the one who broke vows. I wasn't the one who masterminded a cover-up. My grief wasn't just losing Sarah. It was losing the identity of husband and father to a united front of betrayal. Yet in that void, something terrifying and liberating flickered. I didn't have to maintain the image of the endlessly forgiving patriarch anymore. I could start over. I could be David, a person, not a role. The road ahead would be rough: legal bills, lonely nights, rebuilding from rubble. But for the first time in months, resolute sparked. I had survived the worst kind of ambush, the one staged inside my own home. My family betrayed me, but in doing so, they opened the door to a different future, one built on my own terms, one where I decide what comes next.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of reflection. We hope these timeless lessons help guide your own path to peace and fulfillment. If these stories resonated with you, please hit that like button. Subscribe to Timeless Whispers for more wisdom tailored for your golden years, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next chapter. And tell us in the comments, what is the one thing you are most grateful for today? Until next time, take good care.